Hello there, and welcome to Whispered Knowledge. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Perhaps you've had a long day, or maybe you're the kind of person who finds comfort in gentle exploration of the mysteries that visit us each night when we close our eyes. Either way, this journey is for you. You've got nothing to do but rest. Let your mind relax, your breathing slow, and your body settle into the comfort that awaits. Because tonight, we're drifting into the world of dreams, that strange, beautiful territory we visit every single night, whether we remember it or not. Dreams have puzzled humanity since the very beginning. Ancient civilizations believed they were messages from gods. Philosophers pondered whether they revealed hidden truths. Scientists have spent decades trying to understand the machinery behind them. And yet, for all our progress, dreams remain one of the brain's most enchanting mysteries. We spend roughly 6 years of our lives dreaming. 6 entire years in a world constructed entirely by our sleeping minds, populated with people we know, and strangers we've never met, filled with impossible physics and emotional truths. Tonight, we'll wander through 100 facts about dreams, each one a small window into this nightly phenomenon. We'll discover what happens in your brain when you dream, why some dreams feel so vivid while others slip away like smoke, and what science has learned about the strange theater that unfolds behind your closed eyelids. Some of what you hear might surprise you. Other facts might resonate with your own experiences, those moments when you've woken wondering what your mind was trying to tell you. And just before we begin our journey, if these calm, curious explorations help you unwind or give you a quiet way to end your day, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. Now, let's begin our gentle descent into the science and mystery of dreams. The discovery that changed everything. The scientific study of dreams truly began on a September night in 1953. A graduate student named Eugene Aserinsky was observing his 8-year-old son sleeping in a laboratory at the University of Chicago. Aserinsky had been instructed by his advisor, Nathaniel Kleitman, to study the slow rolling eye movements that occur when people fall asleep. But what Aserinsky witnessed that night was something entirely unexpected. As his son slept, the recording equipment suddenly showed rapid, jerky movements of the eyes darting back and forth beneath closed lids. At first, Aserinsky thought the machine was malfunctioning. He checked the connections, adjusted the electrodes, ran the tests again. But the pattern persisted. These weren't the slow, gentle eye rolls of early sleep. These were quick, almost frantic movements that seemed to arrive in cycles throughout the night. When Aserinsky woke his son during these periods of rapid eye movement, the boy reported vivid, detailed dreams. When awakened during the quiet periods between, he recalled nothing or only vague impressions. This discovery revolutionized our understanding of sleep. Before 1953, most people, including scientists Blice, believed sleep was a passive state, a kind of nightly shutdown where the brain simply rested and recovered. Aserinsky and Kleitman's work revealed that sleep was anything but passive. The brain was wildly active during certain phases, generating the rich, strange experiences we call dreams. This stage of sleep became known as REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, and it would become the foundation for decades of dream research. The discovery showed us that dreaming wasn't random or mysterious in the way we'd thought. It was tied to specific, measurable brain states that occurred in predictable cycles throughout the night. The architecture of sleep. To understand dreams, we first need to understand the landscape of sleep itself. Sleep is not a single, uniform state. It's a journey through different territories, each with its own characteristics, its own patterns of brain activity. When you first lie down and close your eyes, you enter stage 1 of non-REM sleep. This is the lightest stage, a transitional zone between waking and sleeping. Your muscles begin to relax, your heart rate slows, your thoughts start to drift and fragment. You might experience sudden muscle jerks, those startling twitches that can jolt you back toward wakefulness. This stage usually lasts only a few minutes. Then you descend into stage 2, a deeper level of non-REM sleep. Your body temperature drops, your eye movements stop. Your brain waves begin to slow, though they're occasionally interrupted by brief bursts of rapid activity called sleep spindles. More than half of your total sleep time is spent in this stage. It's a quiet, restorative place, though dreams can occur here as well. Stages 3 and 4 are the deepest levels of non-REM sleep, sometimes combined and called slow-wave sleep. This is where your brain produces large, slow delta waves. It's the most restorative stage, when your body repairs tissues, builds bone and muscle, and strengthens the immune system. It's also the hardest stage from which to be awakened. If someone shakes you awake from deep sleep, you'll likely feel groggy and disoriented, struggling to understand where you are. And then, about 90 minutes after you first fell asleep, something remarkable happens. You enter REM sleep. During REM sleep, your brain becomes as active as it is when you're awake. In fact, in some regions, it becomes even more active. Your eyes dart rapidly from side to side beneath your closed lids. Your heart rate increases. Your breathing becomes faster and more irregular. And yet, paradoxically, your voluntary muscles become temporarily paralyzed. Only your diaphragm continues its steady work, allowing you to breathe, and your eye muscles remain active, creating those characteristic rapid movements. This paralysis serves a crucial protective function. It keeps you from acting out your dreams, from thrashing or walking, or potentially harming yourself while your mind adventures through impossible scenarios. The paralysis is so complete that if you were to become conscious during this state, you would find yourself unable to move, a phenomenon we'll explore more deeply later. These sleep stages cycle throughout the night in roughly 90-minute intervals, but the cycles aren't identical. Early in the night, you spend more time in deep, slow-wave sleep and less time in REM. As the night progresses, the balance shifts. Your REM periods grow longer and more intense, while deep sleep becomes scarcer. This is why the dreams you have just before waking often feel more vivid and easier to remember than those from earlier in the night. Most adults cycle through these stages 4 to 6 times per night. Each cycle is a journey from light sleep to deep sleep to REM and back again, a rhythm as fundamental to human biology as breathing or a heartbeat. And embedded within this rhythm, dreams emerge like islands in a dark sea. #, the dreaming brain. What happens inside your skull when you dream? The answer involves a complex dance of activation and deactivation across different brain regions, a pattern that creates the unique character of dream experiences. During REM sleep, the visual cortex at the back of your brain lights up with activity. This explains the vivid visual imagery of dreams, the sense of seeing scenes and faces and impossible landscapes. Even though your eyes are closed and no light is entering them, your visual cortex behaves as though you're perceiving the world. The images it generates aren't coming from outside. They're being constructed from within, assembled from memories, expectations, and the brain's own creative processes. The limbic system, particularly the amygdala, becomes highly active. The amygdala processes emotions, and its activation during REM sleep explains why dreams often feel so emotionally charged. You might wake from a dream with your heart pounding from fear, or suffused with inexplicable joy, or heavy with sadness. These emotions can feel more intense than anything you experience during waking life, precisely because the emotional centers of your brain are firing without the moderating influence of rational thought. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for logical thinking, planning, and reality testing, shows decreased activity. This is why dreams feel so strange and yet so normal while you're experiencing them. Your logical mind, the part that would ordinarily say, "Wait, this doesn't make sense," is largely offline. So when you find yourself flying over your childhood home, or having a conversation with someone who's been dead for years, or discovering that your house has rooms you've never seen before, you simply accept these impossibilities as reality. The hippocampus, crucial for forming new memories, is active during dreaming. This allows your brain to pull up old memories and weave them into dream narratives. But it's not a simple playback. Dreams recombine memories in novel ways, mixing people from different periods of your life, placing familiar faces in unfamiliar contexts, creating amalgamations of multiple locations into single dream settings. Interestingly, studies using brain imaging have shown that different types of dream content activate different brain regions. When people dream about movement, motor areas of the brain show activity. When they dream about conversations, language areas activate. The brain, in essence, simulates the experiences it's dreaming about, creating a kind of virtual reality that feels entirely real while it lasts. The mystery of dream recall. Here's a curious fact: you dream far more than you remember. Most people have 4 to 6 dreams per night, but they remember almost none of them. Even vivid dreams that feel unforgettable in the moment often vanish within minutes of waking. Why? The answer lies partly in the hippocampus, that crucial memory-forming structure. While it's active during dreaming, it's not functioning the same way it does during wakefulness. The neurochemical environment of REM sleep makes it difficult to transfer dream experiences into long-term memory. It's as though dreams are written in ink that fades almost as soon as the dream ends. This is why, if you want to remember your dreams, you need to capture them immediately upon waking. The longer you wait, the more the memory dissolves. Dream researchers recommend keeping a journal and pen beside your bed and writing down your dreams the moment you wake, before you move, before you check your phone, before you think about anything else. Even then, you'll only catch fragments, the highlights of experiences that felt rich and complete moments before. Some people are natural high recallers who remember multiple dreams per week or even per night. Others are low recallers who might go months without remembering a single dream. Brain imaging studies have found that high recallers show greater activity in a region called the temporoparietal junction, an area involved in attention and the processing of sensory information. They also tend to wake more briefly during the night, and these micro-awakenings may give their brains opportunities to encode dream memories before they fade. Stress, sleep quality, and alcohol consumption all affect dream recall. High stress tends to increase dream recall, perhaps because stress-related dreams are more emotionally intense and therefore more memorable. Alcohol, on the other hand, suppresses REM sleep and dramatically reduces dream recall, even though it might make you feel like you're sleeping more deeply. Dreaming outside of REM. For decades, scientists believed that dreaming occurred exclusively during REM sleep. The correlation seemed perfect. Wake someone during REM, and they report vivid, story-like dreams. Wake them during non-REM sleep, and they report nothing. But this turned out to be an oversimplification. More careful research revealed that people do dream during non-REM sleep. The dreams are different though. Non-REM dreams tend to be more thought-like, less visual, more fragmented. They're closer to ordinary waking thoughts than to the elaborate narratives of REM dreams. Where REM dreams might involve flying through a city or having an emotional conversation, non-REM dreams might consist of thinking about a problem at work or vaguely sensing a presence. Some researchers believe that the distinction between REM and non-REM dreaming reflects different types of mental activity. REM dreams draw more heavily on episodic memory, pulling up specific events and experiences from your past. Non-REM dreams seem to engage more with semantic memory, general knowledge, and concepts rather than specific scenes. This discovery has important implications. It means our brains are more active during sleep than we realized. The idea of sleep as a period of mental rest is fundamentally wrong. Throughout the night, in every stage of sleep, your mind continues to process, to think, to generate experiences. The nature of those experiences changes as you cycle through sleep stages, but they never fully stop. The content of dreams. What do people actually dream about? For all the strangeness and impossibility in our dreams, their content is surprisingly mundane. Most dreams feature everyday settings, familiar people, and ordinary activities. You're more likely to dream about going to work or talking with a friend than about flying dragons or alien encounters. Studies that have collected and analyzed thousands of dream reports have found consistent patterns. Most dreams take place indoors, in familiar locations like your home, workplace, or school. Most dream characters are people you know, though strangers appear frequently as well. And most dream events are things that could plausibly happen in waking life, even if the specific combinations and sequences are impossible. The impossibilities in dreams tend to be subtle. It's not that you're breathing underwater or walking through walls. It's more that you're in a house that's somehow both your current home and your childhood home. Or you're talking to someone who looks like your friend, but is also somehow your co-worker. The bizarreness of dreams often comes from these kinds of blended identities and impossible transformations, rather than from outright fantasy elements. Emotions are a prominent feature of dreams. Anxiety and fear are the most commonly reported emotions, appearing in dreams far more frequently than joy or excitement. This might reflect the brain's focus on processing threatening or challenging situations, preparing you to handle difficulties in waking life. But positive emotions certainly occur as well, and some dreams are marked by profound peace or happiness. Physical sensations in dreams are common, but less vivid than visual experiences. You might dream about running and feel the movement in your dream, but you won't feel it with the full intensity of actual running. This makes sense given that your muscles are paralyzed during REM sleep. Your brain is simulating the sensation of movement without any actual proprioceptive feedback from your body. Interestingly, while most dreams include visual imagery, other senses are less consistently present. Sound appears in about half of dream reports. Touch, smell, and taste are much rarer, each appearing in less than 1% of dreams. This asymmetry reflects the dominance of vision in human perception and the correspondingly large amount of brain tissue devoted to processing visual information. The incorporation of waking life. Your dreams don't emerge from nowhere. They're built from the raw material of your waking experiences, though in ways that can seem mysterious or arbitrary. The phenomenon called day residue refers to elements from your recent waking life appearing in your dreams. If you spent the afternoon arguing with a coworker, elements of that interaction might surface in your dreams that night, but they won't simply replay the argument. Instead, your dream might feature the coworker in a completely different context, or it might incorporate the emotional tone of the argument into an unrelated dream scenario. Interestingly, experiences don't typically appear in dreams immediately. Instead, there's often a delay. You're most likely to dream about an event 1 to 2 days after it happens, and then again 5 to 7 days later. This is called the dream lag effect, and it suggests that dreams reflect the process of memory consolidation. Your brain is working to integrate new experiences into your existing web of memories, and this work manifests in your dreams. Learning experiences are particularly likely to show up in dreams. If you spend an evening learning a new skill, practicing a musical instrument, or studying for an exam, you're likely to dream about that activity. And interestingly, research suggests these dreams may be associated with improved performance. Studies have shown that people who dream about a task they're learning sometimes show better subsequent performance than those who don't dream about it, though the relationship is complex and still being studied. In one notable study, participants learned to navigate a virtual maze. Some were allowed to nap after the learning session, while others stayed awake. Among the nappers, those who dreamed about the maze showed substantially greater improvement in their navigation skills compared to those who napped but didn't dream about it. The dreaming appeared to reflect active memory consolidation, the brain replaying and refining the new skill. This connection between dreaming and memory has led some researchers to propose that memory consolidation may be one of the primary functions of dreaming. During sleep, your brain appears to be sorting through the day's experiences, deciding what to keep and what to discard, integrating important new information into your existing knowledge. Dreams may be the conscious experience of this unconscious process, glimpses of your brain at work, reorganizing its contents. The mystery of lucid dreaming. Imagine becoming aware that you're dreaming while the dream is still happening. Imagine realizing, in the midst of an impossible scenario, that none of it is real, and then using that awareness to take control, to fly, to explore, to shape the dream according to your will. This is lucid dreaming, and it's one of the most fascinating phenomena in all of sleep science. Lucid dreaming occurs when the prefrontal cortex, which is normally quiet during REM sleep, partially reactivates. This region is responsible for self-awareness and metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking. When it comes back online during a dream, you suddenly recognize that you're dreaming. The experience can range from a brief moment of awareness that quickly fades to a fully lucid state, where you have as much conscious control as you do when awake. Studies suggest that around half of all people report having experienced a lucid dream at least once in their life, though estimates vary across different research. A smaller percentage, perhaps 10 to 20%, have lucid dreams with some regularity, and a very small group, the frequent lucid dreamers, might have lucid dreams several times per week or even nightly. Brain imaging studies of lucid dreaming have revealed a distinctive neural signature. During lucid REM sleep, there's increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, particularly in an area called the anterior prefrontal cortex, which is involved in self-referential thinking. There's also increased activity in the parietal lobes, which process spatial awareness and sense of self. Essentially, parts of the brain that normally sleep during REM wake up just enough to provide awareness without fully waking the dreamer. Lucid dreamers can signal to researchers that they've become lucid by making a predetermined sequence of eye movements. Because eye movements aren't paralyzed during REM sleep, a lucid dreamer can voluntarily move their eyes left, right, and researchers watching the EEG can see this signal appear on the recording. This technique has allowed scientists to study lucid dreaming with unprecedented precision, asking lucid dreamers to perform specific tasks and measuring the brain activity associated with those dreamed actions. Some people learn to induce lucid dreams through various techniques. Reality testing involves regularly questioning whether you're dreaming throughout the day, checking for impossible elements like text that changes when you look away or light switches that don't work. The theory is that if you make this a habit during waking, you'll eventually do it in a dream and recognize the inconsistencies. The mild technique, mnemonic induction of lucid dreams, involves waking up after several hours of sleep and then, while falling back asleep, repeatedly telling yourself, "The next time I'm dreaming, I'll remember that I'm dreaming." The wake back to bed method involves waking yourself after 5 or 6 hours of sleep, staying awake for a brief period, and then returning to sleep. This takes advantage of the fact that REM periods are longer and more intense in the early morning hours. Some research suggests that lucid dreaming might have therapeutic applications. People with recurring nightmares have used lucid dreaming to confront and transform their frightening dreams. In a lucid nightmare, you might turn and face the monster chasing you, ask it what it wants, or simply fly away. The knowledge that it's a dream can take away the fear, and with practice, some people have managed to reduce the frequency and intensity of their nightmares through lucid dreaming. But there are potential downsides as well. Some lucid dreamers report that the practice can lead to decreased sleep quality. The increased brain activation required for lucidity might interfere with the restorative functions of sleep. There's also a risk of sleep paralysis, which we'll explore shortly, as attempts to induce lucid dreams can sometimes result in waking up while the body is still paralyzed. The neuroscience of memory and dreams. The relationship between sleep, dreams, and memory is one of the most active areas of research in neuroscience. We now know with certainty that sleep plays a crucial role in memory consolidation. The question is, what role do dreams themselves play in this process? During sleep, the brain replays patterns of neural activity that occurred during waking experiences. If a rat runs through a maze during the day, the specific pattern of neurons that fired during that run will fire again during sleep, in the same sequence, but faster. This neural replay appears to be a mechanism by which memories are strengthened and integrated into long-term storage. In humans, similar replay has been observed. When people learn a spatial navigation task and then sleep, their hippocampi show reactivation of the same patterns that were active during learning. This reactivation is associated with sleep spindles, those brief bursts of brain activity that occur during stage 2 non-REM sleep, and it predicts better memory performance after sleep. But what about dreams? Are they simply the conscious experience of this unconscious memory replay? The evidence suggests a more complex relationship. Dreaming about a learned task is associated with improved performance on that task, even when controlling for the amount of time spent in different sleep stages. This suggests that the content of dreams, not just the sleep stage in which they occur, matters for memory consolidation. One theory is that dreams reflect the brain's attempt to find patterns and connections among memories. Rather than simply replaying individual experiences, dreaming combines and recombines memories in novel ways, potentially revealing relationships that weren't obvious during the original experiences. This might explain why dreams are so associative and non-linear, jumping from one scene to another in ways that seem random but might reflect underlying connections in your memory network. Another perspective suggests that dreams help with emotional memory processing. REM sleep, when most vivid dreaming occurs, is associated with decreased levels of norepinephrine a stress hormone. This creates a neurochemical environment in which emotional memories can be reactivated and processed without the full emotional response they provoked when first experienced. Dreams might serve as a kind of overnight therapy, allowing you to work through emotional experiences in a context where they're less overwhelming. Research has found that people who dream about emotional experiences show better emotional regulation the next day. They're less likely to remain upset about a negative event and better able to see it in context. This aligns with the old saying that you should sleep on it when faced with a difficult decision or troubling event. Sleep, and particularly dreaming, seems to help us metabolize our emotions, integrating them in ways that make them less raw and more manageable. When dreams become nightmares. Not all dreams are neutral or pleasant. Nightmares, those intensely disturbing dreams that wake you with a pounding heart and lingering anxiety, are a near universal human experience. Most people have nightmares occasionally, particularly during childhood, but for some, nightmares become frequent and severe enough to interfere with sleep quality and daytime functioning. Nightmares typically occur during REM sleep and involve threats to survival, security, or physical integrity. Common nightmare themes include being chased, falling, being attacked, or witnessing harm to loved ones. They're characterized by vivid imagery and intense negative emotions, primarily fear, but also disgust, sadness, or anger. Children have nightmares more frequently than adults, perhaps because they're still learning about potential dangers in the world, and their brains are working to simulate and prepare for threats. As we age, nightmare frequency typically decreases, though stressful life events can trigger an increase at any age. The relationship between nightmares and trauma is particularly strong. People who have experienced traumatic events, whether combat, assault, accidents, or natural disasters, often develop recurring nightmares that replay elements of the trauma. These traumatic nightmares are a hallmark symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder. Research has found that the majority of people with PTSD, in some studies as high as 70 to 96%, experience nightmares, though the exact prevalence varies across different populations and studies. Traumatic nightmares differ from ordinary nightmares in several ways. They're more likely to involve direct replay of the traumatic event, rather than the symbolic or transformed representations typical of regular nightmares. They're also more likely to occur during non-REM sleep, particularly in the first few hours after falling asleep. This is unusual, as most intense dreams occur during REM periods later in the night. The neuroscience of nightmares involves hyperactivation of the amygdala, the brain's fear center, combined with decreased activity in the prefrontal cortex, which normally helps regulate emotional responses. This creates a situation where fear signals are strong, but not properly modulated, leading to the overwhelming sense of terror that characterizes nightmares. Several treatments have shown effectiveness for chronic nightmares. Imagery rehearsal therapy asks people to write down their nightmares and then rewrite them with different, less frightening endings. They then rehearse these revised scenarios during the day. The theory is that by consciously creating alternative narratives, they can change the patterns that emerge during sleep. Studies have found this technique reduces nightmare frequency and intensity in many people. Prazosin, a medication that blocks certain stress hormone receptors, has shown promise for treating PTSD-related nightmares. It seems to reduce the intensity of traumatic dreams without eliminating dreams entirely. Other approaches include exposure therapy, in which people gradually confront trauma-related memories while awake, potentially reducing their power to generate nightmares during sleep. Understanding nightmares as a normal, if distressing brain function can itself be therapeutic. Nightmares aren't a sign of weakness or mental illness. Though they can be a symptom of stress or trauma, they're your brain's way of processing threats and fears, a function that becomes problematic only when it's too intense or frequent. The strange phenomenon of sleep paralysis. One of the most terrifying experiences related to sleep is sleep paralysis, a state in which you become conscious while your body remains paralyzed. It typically happens when you're falling asleep or waking up, and it can feel absolutely horrifying. During REM sleep, your brain sends signals that temporarily paralyze your voluntary muscles. This is a protective mechanism, keeping you from acting out your dreams. Usually this paralysis ends before you regain consciousness, but sometimes the timing goes wrong. You wake up while your body is still paralyzed, trapped in a state of full awareness but complete immobility. Sleep paralysis episodes typically last only a few seconds to a couple of minutes, though they can feel much longer. You're awake, you can open your eyes and look around. You can hear sounds, but you cannot move or speak. Even trying to take a deep breath can feel difficult, as your breathing muscles operate on automatic rather than voluntary control. What makes sleep paralysis truly terrifying for many people are the hallucinations that often accompany it. These fall into three main categories. Intruder hallucinations involve sensing a threatening presence in the room, sometimes seeing a dark figure or feeling that someone is standing near the bed. Incubus hallucinations involve a feeling of pressure on the chest, often experienced as something sitting on you or choking you. And vestibular motor hallucinations involve sensations of movement, such as floating, flying, or out-of-body experiences. These hallucinations have a neurological explanation. The feeling of a presence may result from disrupted activity in the temporal parietal junction, a brain region involved in integrating sensory information and maintaining awareness of your body in space. The pressure on your chest likely relates to the difficulty breathing when your respiratory muscles are in the relaxed state of REM sleep. The floating sensations may come from the vestibular system, which controls balance and spatial orientation, being active without normal input from the body. Sleep paralysis has been interpreted through cultural lenses across history and geography. In medieval Europe, it was attributed to demons or witches sitting on the chest of sleepers. In Newfoundland, it was called the Old Hag. In Japan, it's known as kanashibari, being bound by an invisible metal. In some cultures, it's seen as a spiritual attack. In others, as a visit from the dead. These cultural frames can significantly influence how frightening the experience feels. Scientifically, sleep paralysis is understood as a dissociation between REM sleep and wakefulness. It's more common than many people realize. Research indicates that somewhere between 8 and 30% of people experience at least one episode of sleep paralysis in their lifetime, with prevalence varying across different populations studied. It's more likely to occur during periods of sleep deprivation, irregular sleep schedules, sleeping in an unfamiliar environment, or during times of high stress. For most people, sleep paralysis is harmless, if frightening. The episodes are brief and resolve on their own. The main risk is the fear and anxiety they generate, which can lead to reluctance to sleep and create a cycle of sleep deprivation that makes further episodes more likely. If you experience sleep paralysis, the most important thing to know is that you're not in danger. You're not actually suffocating, even though it feels that way. The episode will end, usually within a minute or two. Some people find that focusing on trying to move a single finger or toe can help break the paralysis. Others find that trying to relax and wait it out is more effective than fighting against it. Regular sleep schedules, adequate sleep, and stress management can all reduce the frequency of sleep paralysis episodes. If they become frequent enough to significantly impact your sleep quality or cause persistent anxiety, consultation with a sleep specialist may be warranted. The colors of our dreams. Do you dream in color or black and white? This question has a surprisingly complex answer, one that reveals how our dream experiences are shaped not just by our brains, but by our cultural context. Research suggests that most people dream in color, though the exact percentage is difficult to determine. When awakened during REM sleep and asked to describe their dreams, many people report seeing colors. But historically, this wasn't always the case, at least not in people's reports. In studies conducted in the 1940s and 1950s, the majority of people reported dreaming primarily in black and white. In one study from 1942, more than 70% of college students said they rarely or never saw colors in their dreams. When the exact same questionnaire was administered in 2001, only about 18% gave that response. The shift is dramatic and raises a fascinating question. Did dreams themselves change, or did the way people think about and remember their dreams change? The most compelling explanation involves television and film. People who grew up watching black and white television and movies report more black and white dreams than people who grew up with color media. The suggestion is that our visual media provides a framework for how we conceptualize and remember our dreams. When asked to describe a dream, we might unconsciously model it on the visual media we're familiar with. This doesn't necessarily mean dreams actually were in black and white. It might mean that people didn't pay attention to or remember color in their dreams, or that they describe dreams using the visual language available to them. When your primary visual entertainment is in black and white, you might naturally describe or remember your dreams that way as well. There's another consideration. What does it even mean for a dream to be in color? Dreams aren't quite like watching a movie. They're more like imagined experiences, and imagination itself doesn't always specify color. If you imagine a banana, you probably assume it's yellow, but you're not necessarily generating a vivid mental image of yellowness. Similarly, in dreams, you might know what color things are without consciously experiencing that color as a visual sensation. This ambiguity is reflected in dream research. When people are asked about colors immediately upon waking, they often can't say for certain whether they experienced color or not. The colors might have been there, or they might have been implied, or the question might not have a clear answer. What about people who are colorblind or blind? People with red-green color blindness, the most common form, dream in the same colors they see while awake. If they see greens as dull browns, that's how greens appear in their dreams. People born completely colorblind, able to see only in shades of gray, dream in grayscale because they have no experience of color to draw upon. Blind people's dreams vary depending on when they lost their sight. People who become blind after about age 5 or 6 still experience visual imagery in their dreams, drawing on memories from when they could see. But people born blind or who become blind before age 5 don't have visual dreams. Instead, their dreams involve other senses more prominently: sound, touch, taste, and smell. Studies comparing dreams of blind and sighted people have found that blind individuals report more sensations of touch, more auditory content, and more references to smell and taste. Their dreams are as rich and complex as those of sighted people, but they're constructed from different sensory materials. This demonstrates the remarkable flexibility of the dreaming brain, creating vivid experiences from whatever sensory information is available. The function of dreams, theories, and evidence. Why do we dream? Despite decades of research, there's no single agreed-upon answer. Instead, we have several theories, each supported by some evidence. each explaining some aspects of dreaming while leaving others mysterious. The threat simulation theory proposes that dreams may serve as a kind of virtual reality for practicing responses to threatening situations. By simulating dangers in a safe environment, dreams could help prepare us to handle threats in waking life. This would explain why so many dreams involve threatening scenarios, being chased, attacked, falling, or failing at important tasks. According to this view, the brain is running simulations, testing responses, building skills that might prove crucial for survival. Supporting this theory is the fact that children and adolescents, who are still learning about the world and its dangers, have more threatening dreams than adults. People who have faced real threats also tend to incorporate those experiences into their dreams. Trauma survivors often have dreams that replay or transform their traumatic experiences, possibly as the brain's attempt to process and prepare for similar situations. The emotional regulation theory suggests that dreams may help us process and integrate emotional experiences. During REM sleep, when most vivid dreaming occurs, the brain is in a unique neurochemical state with low levels of norepinephrine, a stress hormone. This could allow emotional memories to be reactivated and processed without the full stress response they originally provoked. Dreams might serve as overnight therapy, helping us work through difficult emotions in a context where they're less overwhelming. Evidence for this comes from studies showing that people who dream about emotional events sometimes show better emotional adjustment afterward. Researchers found that sleep, and particularly REM sleep, appears to help people feel less upset about negative experiences. People who are deprived of REM sleep show worse emotional regulation and heightened reactivity to emotional stimuli. Dreams may be the conscious experience of this emotional processing. The memory consolidation theory, which we've touched on already, suggests that dreams reflect the process of memory integration and reorganization. During sleep, the brain sorts through the day's experiences, deciding what to keep in long-term storage and what to discard. Dreams may be the subjective experience of this sorting process, the conscious glimpse of memories being replayed, combined, and integrated into existing knowledge. This theory is supported by the strong evidence that sleep benefits memory, that memory reactivation occurs during sleep, and that dreaming about learned material predicts better memory for that material. Dreams seem to mix recent experiences with older memories, precisely what you'd expect if the brain were integrating new information into existing memory networks. Some theories suggest dreams have no function at all. The activation synthesis hypothesis, proposed in the 1970s, argued that dreams are simply the brain's attempt to make sense of random neural activity during sleep. The brainstem generates semi-random signals during REM sleep, and the cortex tries to interpret these signals as coherent experiences, creating the bizarre narratives we call dreams. In this view, dreams are a byproduct of sleep, not a feature with its own function. More recent versions of this theory acknowledge that while dreams might originate from somewhat random neural activity, they're still constrained by memory, emotion, and ongoing concerns. They're not completely random or meaningless, even if they don't serve a specific function. The truth is probably that dreams serve multiple functions, or that different aspects of dreaming serve different purposes. The visual imagery might relate to memory consolidation. The emotional content might relate to emotional regulation. The bizarre narratives might simply be how the brain binds these various processes into something resembling a coherent experience. What's clear is that dreaming is universal among humans and appears in other mammals as well. This universality suggests it's not merely an accident or a curious side effect. Dreams are likely doing something important for the brain, even if we don't yet fully understand what that something is. The dreams of animals. Do animals dream? The question has fascinated scientists and animal lovers alike. While we can't ask animals about their subjective experiences, we can observe their sleep patterns and brain activity to draw some reasonable conclusions. Most mammals experience REM sleep, the stage most associated with vivid dreaming in humans. During REM sleep, mammals show the same characteristic rapid eye movements, muscle twitching, and brain activity patterns that humans do. Dogs and cats often twitch their paws or make running movements during sleep, suggesting they might be dreaming about chasing or running. Pet owners frequently report watching their animals appear to dream. The evidence is particularly strong in studies of rats. When rats are running through a maze while awake, specific patterns of neurons fire in their hippocampi. During subsequent sleep, those exact same patterns fire again, in the same sequence, but approximately 20 times faster. This looks very much like the rats are replaying their experiences, possibly dreaming about running the maze. In one fascinating study, researchers trained rats to run on a circular track and mapped the specific patterns of neural activity associated with different locations on the track. Then, during sleep, they decoded the neural activity to determine what location the rat's brain was representing in real time. The results suggested that sleeping rats' brains were indeed moving through the remembered track, sometimes running it forward, sometimes backward, sometimes exploring paths not taken during waking. Birds also show something resembling REM sleep, though their version is quite different from mammals. Young songbirds show neural activity during sleep that mirrors the patterns active when they're practicing their songs during the day. It appears they're rehearsing their songs while asleep, possibly consolidating the learning of these complex vocalizations. The platypus and echidna, primitive egg-laying mammals, show far more REM sleep than most other mammals. Studies have found they can spend many hours per day in this state, compared to about 2 hours in humans. Why these animals appear to need so much REM sleep remains a mystery, but it suggests that whatever function REM sleep serves, these creatures may need more of it. Interestingly, marine mammals like dolphins and whales have evolved a unique solution to the problem of sleeping while needing to surface regularly to breathe. They sleep with one hemisphere of their brain at a time, keeping one half awake to maintain breathing and awareness, while the other half sleeps. Research observations suggest that dolphins may show REM sleep in one hemisphere, while the other remains awake, which raises intriguing questions about whether they might experience a kind of uni-hemispheric dreaming. While we can't know for certain what animals experience during sleep, the evidence strongly suggests that dreaming, or something very much like it, is common across mammals and possibly some birds. The ubiquity of REM sleep and its associated neural patterns suggests that this state serves important functions that evolution has preserved across millions of years and across diverse species. Recurring dreams and their meaning. Many people experience recurring dreams with similar themes, settings, or narratives that appear repeatedly over months or years. These dreams can be identical each time or variations on a theme. Common recurring dream scenarios include being chased, falling, showing up for a test unprepared, being unable to run or move, teeth falling out, or being naked in public. Recurring dreams often reflect ongoing concerns, unresolved conflicts, or persistent sources of stress in waking life. The dream about showing up unprepared for a test, for instance, commonly occurs in people who feel overwhelmed or under-evaluated in their professional lives. It may continue even decades after the person has left school, surfacing during periods of high stress or performance pressure. The anxiety dream about being unable to run or move may reflect feelings of helplessness or lack of control in some area of life. Dreams about teeth falling out, one of the most commonly reported recurring dreams, have been interpreted as reflecting concerns about appearance, aging, or loss of power. However, these interpretations should be taken lightly. Dream symbolism isn't universal, and the meaning of any dream element can vary enormously depending on personal associations and context. What's more interesting than the specific content is the fact that recurring dreams exist at all. They suggest that the dreaming brain returns repeatedly to certain themes or scenarios, possibly because they represent something unresolved or because they're associated with persistent emotional patterns. Some people find that recurring dreams stop once they address the underlying issue in waking life. A recurring nightmare about being unprepared for exams might fade once you feel more confident and settled in your career. Others find that the dreams transform over time, the threatening scenarios becoming less frightening or resolving in more positive ways as the person develops better coping strategies or emotional resilience. Lucid dreaming has been used as a tool for working with recurring dreams. By becoming aware within the dream that you're dreaming, you can consciously choose to confront whatever is threatening or troubling about the scenario. Some people report that facing the threat in a lucid dream, whether by turning to confront a pursuer or deliberately performing the task they feel unprepared for, leads to the recurring dream either stopping or transforming into something less distressing. The creativity connection. Some of history's most famous creative breakthroughs are said to have emerged from dreams. The chemist Auguste Kekulé reportedly discovered the ring structure of benzene after dreaming of a snake biting its own tail. Elias Howe, inventor of the sewing machine, supposedly solved the problem of where to place the needle eye after dreaming of spears with holes near their points. Mary Shelley conceived Frankenstein in a dream. These anecdotes, whether entirely accurate or embellished over time, point to an intriguing possibility that dreams might facilitate creative thinking. There's scientific support for this idea. Dreams excel at making unusual associations, combining disparate elements in novel ways. The loosening of logical constraints that occurs during dreaming might allow the brain to explore conceptual spaces it wouldn't access during more focused waking thought. The result can be unexpected connections, new perspectives on old problems, or entirely original ideas. Studies have found that REM sleep, when vivid dreaming is most likely, enhances performance on tasks requiring creative problem solving or the ability to see non-obvious connections between concepts. People who are given a problem to solve and then allowed to sleep before attempting the solution often perform better than those who spend the same amount of time awake, and those who achieve REM sleep during their rest period show the greatest improvements. The dreaming brain seems particularly good at pattern recognition and the extraction of general rules from specific examples. This might explain why sleeping on a problem can lead to insights. During dreaming, your brain reviews your memories of the problem, potentially finding patterns or connections that weren't obvious during deliberate waking analysis. However, not all dreams are creative goldmines. Most dreams are mundane, repetitive, or simply bizarre rather than insightfully bizarre. The creative potential of dreams likely depends on having spent waking time thinking intensely about a problem or domain. Dreams draw on the material your brain has been working with. If you've spent weeks puzzling over a scientific question or an artistic challenge, your dreams may incorporate elements of that work in novel combinations. But dreams won't solve problems you haven't thought about. Some creative people deliberately use dreams as a tool. Salvador Dali is said to have napped while holding a key above a metal plate, the idea being that as he fell asleep and his hand relaxed, the key would drop and wake him, allowing him to capture the hypnagogic imagery of sleep onset. Thomas Edison reportedly used a similar technique with ball bearings. These methods aim to harvest the creative associations of drowsy or dreaming states while maintaining enough awareness to remember and record the insights. Gender difference in dreaming. Research has identified several consistent differences between men's and women's dreams. These differences are statistical trends, not absolute rules, and there's enormous variation within each gender. But on average, certain patterns emerge. Women tend to have slightly longer dreams with more characters, and more balanced gender ratios among those characters. Men's dreams tend to feature more male characters, roughly 2 male characters for every female one. Women's dreams show a more even split between male and female characters. The emotional content of dreams differs somewhat between genders. Women report more anxiety, sadness, and other negative emotions in their dreams, while men report more physical aggression. Women's dreams are also more likely to take place indoors and in familiar locations, while men's dreams feature outdoor settings and unfamiliar locations more frequently. These differences might reflect socialization and cultural factors. If men and women have different daily experiences, different concerns, and different ways of interacting with the world, we'd expect those differences to show up in their dreams. The continuity hypothesis of dreaming holds that dream content reflects waking life experiences and concerns, so gender differences in dreaming might simply mirror gender differences in waking life. There's also evidence of neurological differences. Women, on average, have slightly higher rates of dream recall than men. They also report more vivid colors in their dreams and more sensory detail. These differences might relate to differences in brain structure or chemistry, though the exact mechanisms remain unclear. Hormonal cycles may influence dreaming in women. Some research suggests that dream content varies across the menstrual cycle, with more anxiety dreams during the premenstrual phase. Pregnancy dramatically affects both sleep architecture and dream content, with pregnant women reporting more vivid dreams, more emotional dreams, and dreams featuring themes of birth, babies, and fertility. The phenomenon of false awakenings. One particularly disorienting dream experience is the false awakening, where you dream that you've woken up and begun your day, only to actually wake up and realize the waking up was part of the dream. Some people experience chains of false awakenings, waking up in the dream, realizing something is wrong, waking up again, and so on through multiple iterations before finally achieving actual wakefulness. False awakenings can be remarkably realistic. You might dream that you wake up, get out of bed, start your morning routine, perhaps notice something slightly odd, and then suddenly wake for real. The experience can be confusing and unsettling, blurring the line between dreaming and waking in a way that makes you question which state you're actually in. These experiences are closely related to lucid dreaming. In fact, a false awakening can sometimes trigger lucidity if you notice the signs that you're still dreaming. Many lucid dream induction techniques recommend doing reality checks immediately upon waking, precisely because false awakenings are common and provide opportunities for becoming lucid. False awakenings may be more likely during sleep paralysis or during transitions between sleep stages. They might represent the brain's attempt to generate a plausible explanation for waking sensations while still in a dreaming state. The expectation of waking, combined with partial arousal, might trigger a dream of the waking process itself. While disorienting, false awakenings are generally harmless. They're simply another demonstration of how effectively the dreaming brain can simulate waking reality, and how difficult it can sometimes be to distinguish dream experiences from genuine perceptions. The role of neurotransmitters. The neurochemistry of dreaming is complex, involving multiple neurotransmitter systems that change across different sleep stages. Understanding these chemical changes helps explain why dreams have their characteristic features. During REM sleep, acetylcholine levels are high. This neurotransmitter is associated with cortical activation and is crucial for memory formation. The high levels of acetylcholine during REM help explain why this stage shows brain activity similar to waking, and why dreams during REM are so vivid and memorable, at least briefly. At the same time, norepinephrine and serotonin, neurotransmitters associated with stress response and mood regulation, are at their lowest levels during REM sleep. The near absence of norepinephrine may create the emotional safety that allows traumatic or stressful memories to be processed without triggering a full stress response. It might also explain why logical thought and self-awareness are diminished during dreaming, as norepinephrine is involved in focused attention and executive function. Dopamine levels are elevated during REM sleep. This neurotransmitter is associated with reward, motivation, and hallucinations. Its elevation might contribute to the hallucinatory quality of dreams and the sense that dream events are meaningful or significant. The balance of these and other neurotransmitters creates the unique mental state of dreaming, distinct from both waking and other sleep stages. Changes in this balance can affect dream content and character. Medications that alter neurotransmitter levels often impact dreaming. Antidepressants that affect serotonin can change dream vividness and recall. Medications that impact dopamine can make dreams more or less bizarre. Understanding the neurochemistry of dreaming opens the possibility of pharmacologically influencing dream experiences, though such interventions remain controversial and not fully understood. Dreams across cultures. While the basic neurobiology of dreaming is universal, the interpretation and significance attached to dreams varies dramatically across cultures. Some cultures view dreams as meaningless mental noise. Others see them as profound sources of spiritual guidance, prophecy, or communication with other realms. In many indigenous cultures, dreams are considered a form of reality as valid as waking life. The boundary between dreaming and waking is more permeable than in Western scientific frameworks. Dreams might be understood as journeys of the soul, encounters with ancestors or spirits, or experiences in parallel worlds. The Iroquois people of North America historically placed great importance on dreams, seeing them as expressions of deep desires and needs. They practiced dream sharing and dream fulfillment, acting out or providing what was dreamed about to satisfy the dreamer's soul. This cultural practice reflects a very different relationship with dreaming than the modern Western tendency to view dreams as mere mental phenomena. In some Aboriginal Australian cultures, dream time is a foundational concept, referring both to the time of creation and to an ongoing spiritual reality accessible through dreams. Dreams are understood as connections to ancestors, to the land, and to eternal truths. Many cultures have traditions of dream incubation, deliberately seeking dreams for guidance on specific questions. Ancient Greeks seeking healing would sleep in temples of Asclepius, god of medicine, hoping for dreams that would reveal cures. Similar practices exist in Islamic tradition, Buddhism, and many other spiritual systems. The content of dreams can also vary across cultures. While some dream themes appear universal, others are culturally specific. People in individualistic Western cultures tend to dream more about personal achievement and individual concerns. People in collectivist cultures dream more about social relationships and community obligations. The characters, settings, and scenarios that populate dreams are drawn from each person's cultural context. Even sleep paralysis, which has a consistent neurological basis, is experienced and interpreted very differently across cultures. The hallucinations and physical sensations are culturally shaped, with different traditions providing different explanatory frameworks for the experience. The forgotten majority. Here's a humbling fact. We forget the vast majority of our dreams. Even the most dedicated dream journalists, people who write down dreams immediately upon waking, capture only a fraction of their nightly dream experiences. Most dreams dissolve within minutes of waking, leaving only vague impressions or nothing at all. This forgetting isn't a flaw or failure. It might actually be adaptive. If we remembered every dream as vividly as we remember waking experiences, our minds would be cluttered with confusing false memories. We'd struggle to distinguish what actually happened from what we dreamed. The rapid fading of dream memories might be a feature of the system, allowing the brain to process and integrate information during dreaming without creating misleading memories of events that never occurred. The neurochemical environment of REM sleep is not conducive to forming lasting memories. The hippocampus, crucial for memory formation, is active during dreaming but functioning differently than during waking. It's replaying and processing existing memories rather than encoding new experiences for long-term storage. This creates a paradox. Dreams draw on our memories, incorporating elements from our past experiences. But the dreams themselves, the new experiences created by combining and transforming those memories, aren't typically remembered for long. We can use our memories to dream, but we can't easily remember that we've dreamed. Some people worry that they don't dream at all because they never remember dreams, but everyone dreams. Studies of people who claim never to dream have found that when awakened during REM sleep, they report dream experiences just like everyone else. They simply don't remember them upon waking naturally. The dreaming is happening. It's the recall that varies, the language of dreams. Dreams speak in symbols and metaphors, but not in the universal symbolic language that Freud and Jung once proposed. The snake in your dream doesn't necessarily represent sexuality or transformation or danger. What it represents depends entirely on your personal associations, your experiences with snakes, your cultural background, and the context of the dream itself. Research into dream content has found some commonalities across cultures and individuals, but far more variation. Certain scenarios appear frequently in dreams worldwide: falling, being chased, flying, taking tests unprepared, teeth falling out, and appearing naked in public. But the emotional tone and personal significance of these scenarios varies enormously. The falling dream might reflect anxiety about loss of control for one person, excitement about new possibilities for another. The test dream might represent performance anxiety in someone early in their career, or it might be a nostalgic return to simpler times for someone long retired. Context matters, personal history matters, current concerns matter. What dreams excel at is creating narratives that feel emotionally true, even when they're logically impossible. You might dream that your current home is somehow also your childhood home, an impossible blending that makes perfect dream sense, because both places carry the emotional weight of home for you. Or you might dream of a person who looks like your friend, but is also somehow your colleague, a fusion that your dreaming mind accepts without question. This associative logic, this willingness to blend and merge and transform, is part of what makes dreams feel so strange upon waking. We're accustomed to the clear categories and distinct boundaries of waking reality. Dreams dissolve those boundaries, creating experiences where one thing can be multiple things simultaneously, where locations shift and transform, where time flows in peculiar ways. The bizarreness of dreams has been quantified in research studies. Scientists have developed scales for measuring dream bizarreness, looking at how often dreams contain impossible events, discontinuities in time or place, or violations of natural laws. They found that while some dreams are relatively mundane and realistic, others contain frequent, bizarre elements. Interestingly, the bizarreness of dreams increases as the night progresses. Early night dreams, occurring during the first few REM periods, tend to be more realistic and coherent. As you move through later REM periods in the early morning hours, dreams become increasingly strange, more heavily populated with impossible events and logical inconsistencies. This progression might reflect changes in brain chemistry across the night, or it might relate to the different types of memory processing occurring at different times. Whatever the cause, it means that if you're woken by an alarm in the morning, you're more likely to recall a bizarre dream than if you wake naturally after an earlier, less strange dream. The physical sensations of dreaming. We tend to think of dreams primarily as visual experiences, and indeed, vision dominates dream content for most people. But dreams can engage all the senses, creating experiences that feel surprisingly physical and real. Movement sensations are common in dreams. You run, jump, fly, fall. You feel the movement in your dream body, even though your actual body is paralyzed during REM sleep. This creates an interesting dissociation. Your brain is simulating the proprioceptive feedback of movement without any actual movement occurring. The motor cortex shows activity patterns associated with movement, but the signals that would normally cause your muscles to contract are blocked. Studies have asked lucid dreamers to perform specific movements in their dreams, simple sequences of actions like clenching a fist or making swimming motions. By measuring brain activity during these dreamed movements, researchers have found that the same motor planning areas activate, as would during actual movement, but without the downstream activation of muscles. The dream of moving is, neurologically, almost identical to planning to move, just without the execution. Pain in dreams is surprisingly rare. Despite the frequency of threatening scenarios in dreams, actual pain sensations occur in less than 1% of dream reports. You might dream of being attacked or injured, but you typically don't feel the pain of those injuries. This might be because pain is a bodily sensation that requires actual neural signals from pain receptors, signals that aren't present during the dream scenario. The sense of touch appears more often than pain, but still relatively rarely compared to vision. Perhaps 10 to 15% of dream reports mention tactile sensations, feeling wind, touching objects, being touched by dream characters. These sensations tend to be less vivid than visual imagery, impressions of touch, rather than fully detailed tactile experiences. Temperature sensations appear occasionally in dreams. You might dream of feeling cold wind or warm sun, though these sensations are usually vague and fleeting. The dream body doesn't experience temperature with the precision of the waking body, perhaps because the actual temperature signals from your skin don't match the imagined scenario. Smell and taste are the rarest sensory experiences in dreams. Various studies have found these senses appear in less than 1% of dream reports. When they do appear, they're often emotionally significant, triggering memories or emotions in the dream narrative. But most dreams unfold without any olfactory or gustatory component at all. This sensory hierarchy in dreams reflects the hierarchy of senses in waking life. Humans are primarily visual creatures. We devote enormous amounts of brain tissue to processing visual information. Our other senses, while important, occupy less neural real estate and receive less conscious attention. Dreams mirror this distribution, heavily weighted toward vision with other senses as occasional additions rather than constant features. The social world of dreams. Despite being private, internal experiences, dreams are surprisingly social. Most dreams feature other people. In fact, dreams rarely consist of solitary experiences. You're almost always interacting with dream characters, whether familiar people from your life, amalgamations of multiple people, or complete strangers. The people in your dreams reflect your social world and concerns. Close friends and family members appear more frequently than distant acquaintances. People you've been thinking about or interacting with recently are more likely to appear than those you haven't seen or thought about in years. Your dreams are populated by the same social concerns that occupy your waking thoughts. Interestingly, research has found that while dream characters often look like specific people you know, they sometimes behave in ways inconsistent with those people's actual personalities or relationships to you. You might dream of a friend who looks and sounds like them, but acts uncharacteristically. Or you might dream of someone who simultaneously is and isn't a particular person, carrying traits of multiple individuals. The social interactions in dreams cover the full range of human relating. You have conversations, though if you try to remember the exact words spoken in a dream, they often dissolve or seem vague. You experience conflicts and arguments. You collaborate on tasks. You feel attraction, affection, anger, or fear toward dream characters. Emotions toward dream characters can be intense and seem to arise spontaneously. You might feel overwhelming love for someone you barely know in waking life, or inexplicable hostility toward a close friend. These emotional reactions often reflect current concerns or unresolved feelings rather than your actual waking relationships. One interesting finding is that dream characters have their own apparent autonomy. They surprise you, say unexpected things, behave in ways you didn't consciously plan. This despite the fact that they're entirely products of your own mind. Your dreaming brain is creating characters that feel independent from you, that seem to have their own minds and motivations. This capacity to generate autonomous feeling characters might relate to the brain's theory of mind systems, the networks involved in understanding other people's mental states. During dreaming, these systems are active, creating simulations of other minds that feel distinct from your own. Social anxiety dreams are particularly common. Dreams about embarrassment, social rejection, or public humiliation appear frequently across cultures. These might reflect the importance of social standing and acceptance in human life. Our brains seem primed to simulate and prepare for social threats, perhaps as important for survival and reproduction as physical threats. Head-ons at dreams and physical health. The relationship between dreams and physical health is complex and multifaceted. Physical states influence dreams, and dreams, or rather the sleep in which they occur, influence physical health. Physical discomfort can infiltrate dreams in interesting ways. If you're sleeping in an uncomfortable position that restricts circulation to your arm, you might dream of your arm being injured or restrained. If your bedroom is cold, you might dream of winter scenes or feel cold in your dream. The brain incorporates external stimuli into dream narratives, weaving them into the ongoing story, rather than allowing them to wake you. This incorporation isn't always direct or obvious. You're unlikely to dream specifically about the pressure of a full bladder, but you might dream about searching for a bathroom or about water. The brain transforms the biological signal into dream content that fits the narrative structure of the dream. Illness can affect both the content and quality of dreams. Fever dreams, for instance, are notorious for their bizarre and intense quality. Elevated body temperature seems to make dreams more vivid, more emotionally intense, and stranger than usual. People often report fever dreams as being particularly memorable and disturbing, though exactly why fever affects dreaming this way isn't fully understood. Certain physical conditions show up in dreams with interesting frequency. People with chronic pain sometimes experience pain in their dreams, though still less often than you might expect. People with motor disabilities may dream of moving freely, their dream bodies unconstrained by their waking limitations. The dream world can offer a kind of freedom from physical constraints. Sleep apnea, a condition where breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep, significantly disrupts normal sleep architecture and dreaming. People with untreated sleep apnea often report fewer dreams or different dream quality, likely because the frequent micro-awakenings prevent normal progression through sleep stages. Treatment of sleep apnea often leads to reports of more vivid, more frequent dreams as normal sleep patterns are restored. Medications can profoundly affect dreaming. Some medications suppress REM sleep, dramatically reducing dream frequency and vividness. Others increase REM sleep or change its character. Certain antidepressants are notorious for causing vivid, sometimes disturbing dreams. Beta blockers, used to treat high blood pressure and other conditions, can trigger nightmares in some people. The sudden cessation of REM suppressing substances can cause REM rebound, a period of extended, intense REM sleep as the brain makes up for lost dreaming time. People withdrawing from alcohol or certain sleep medications often report extremely vivid, sometimes disturbing dreams during this rebound period. It's as though the brain is catching up on all the dreaming it missed, compressing it into intense nightly experiences. On the flip side, quality sleep and regular dreaming contribute to physical health. REM sleep is involved in immune system function, tissue repair, and regulation of metabolic processes. Chronic REM sleep deprivation is associated with increased risk of various health problems, from cardiovascular disease to metabolic syndrome. The relationship runs both ways. Your body influences your dreams, and your sleep, including your dreaming, influences your body's health and functioning. The ethics and philosophy of dreams. Dreams raise interesting philosophical questions about the nature of experience, consciousness, and reality. When you're dreaming, you're having genuine experiences. Things happen to you in dreams. You feel emotions, make decisions, have realizations, and yet, none of it is real in the conventional sense. This creates a puzzle. In what sense does a dream experience count as real? When you wake from a frightening nightmare, your heart is pounding, your stress hormones are elevated. The fear was real, even if the threat wasn't. When you wake from a beautiful dream feeling peaceful and happy, that emotion is genuine, even though its source was imaginary. Some philosophers have argued that dreams demonstrate the subjectivity of all experience. If we can have vivid, convincing experiences during dreams that feel entirely real while we're having them, how can we be certain that waking experience isn't similarly illusory? This is the ancient skeptical problem of how we know we're not dreaming right now. Modern neuroscience provides some answers to this philosophical puzzle. Waking and dreaming consciousness have different neural signatures. During waking, sensory cortices are driven by actual sensory input. During dreaming, they're driven by internal activity. The brain is operating differently in the two states, even if the subjective experience can feel similar. But this doesn't fully resolve the puzzle. The neural differences tell us how to distinguish waking from dreaming from an external, objective perspective. They don't change the fact that from the inside, from the subjective perspective of experience, dreams can feel completely real. There are also ethical dimensions to dreaming. If you have a dream in which you behave unethically, hurt someone, or do something you'd never do while awake, are you responsible for those dream actions? Most people intuitively feel that dream actions don't carry moral weight. You can't be blamed for what you do in a dream because you didn't consciously choose those actions and they didn't affect any real person. But what about lucid dreams, where you do have conscious control? If you choose to do something unethical in a lucid dream, knowing that you're dreaming, does that reflect on your character? This is a genuinely puzzling question. On one hand, no real harm is done. No actual person is affected. On the other hand, you did consciously choose to imagine and enact the scenario. These questions become even more complex with technological advances. As virtual reality improves, the line between simulated and real experiences becomes increasingly blurry. If we develop technologies that can induce specific dream content, should there be ethical limits on what people can experience in technologically enhanced dreams? The questions raised by dreaming might become increasingly relevant as our technological capabilities advance. Shared dreams and anomalous experiences. Most dreams are solitary experiences, private mental events that occur independently in individual brains. But throughout history, people have reported shared dreams, experiences where two or more people claim to have dreamed about the same events or scenarios. Scientific evidence for genuinely shared dreams is lacking. The most parsimonious explanation for reports of shared dreams is coincidence combined with the human tendency to find patterns and meaning. Given how many dreams people have, some will inevitably be similar, especially between people who share experiences, concerns, and environments. That said, the phenomenon is worth noting because of its psychological significance. When two people wake up and discover they had similar dreams, the experience can feel profound and meaningful, creating a sense of connection or shared consciousness, even if the actual explanation is mundane. Precognitive dreams, dreams that seem to predict future events, are another commonly reported anomalous experience. Someone dreams about a specific scenario, and then something similar happens in waking life. These experiences can feel uncanny and significant. The scientific explanation is less mysterious. Human beings have enormous numbers of dreams, most of which are forgotten. Occasionally, by chance, a dream will resemble a subsequent waking event. When this happens, we remember the dream and the match, creating the impression of prediction. The thousands of dreams that didn't match anything, and the thousands of waking events that weren't dreamed about, are forgotten. Our brains are also excellent at finding patterns and connections, sometimes finding them where none exist. A dream about a car accident might be matched, after the fact, to any number of vaguely similar experiences. A near miss in traffic, news of an accident involving someone else, or even just seeing an accident depicted in a movie. This isn't to dismiss the subjective significance of such experiences. Whether or not there's any paranormal element to a seemingly precognitive dream, the experience of having one can be powerful and meaningful. The dream might have drawn on subtle cues you noticed, but didn't consciously register, making it a form of unconscious insight rather than genuine precognition. There are also reports of mutual dreaming, where two people plan to meet in a dream or to dream about the same thing, and then report success. Again, scientific verification is lacking. The methodological challenges of studying such phenomena are enormous, and the most rigorous studies have failed to find evidence of genuinely shared or precognitive dreams. What these phenomena do highlight is a human need to find meaning and connection in our experiences, including our dreams. We want our dreams to mean something, to connect us to others, to provide insight or warning about the future. This drive to find meaning is itself psychologically interesting, even if the specific experiences don't demonstrate actual shared consciousness or precognition. Dreams in different ages. The way we dream changes across the lifespan, reflecting the changing concerns, cognitive abilities, and brain development of different life stages. Children's dreams differ from adult dreams in interesting ways. Very young children report relatively simple, static dreams with fewer characters and less narrative complexity. A preschool child might dream of an animal or a monster appearing, but without the elaborate storylines typical of adult dreams. This simplicity likely reflects cognitive development. Dream construction requires sophisticated mental abilities that are still developing in young children. The capacity to construct complex narratives, to understand multiple perspectives, to simulate social interactions, all develop gradually through childhood. As children age, their dreams become progressively more complex and more similar to adult dreams. By adolescence, dream reports are largely indistinguishable from adult reports in terms of narrative complexity, character interactions, and emotional content. One study tracked children's dreams across several years, correlating dream content with scores on various cognitive tests. The researchers found that the development of dream complexity paralleled the development of visuospatial skills and mental imagery abilities. Children who scored higher on tests of visual imagination reported more complex, vivid dreams. Nightmares are more common in childhood than in adulthood. This might reflect children's ongoing process of learning about potential dangers and how to respond to them. The threat simulation theory of dreaming would predict exactly this. More nightmares during the period when an organism is still learning about environmental threats and appropriate responses. The content of children's nightmares often reflects developmental concerns. Younger children dream about monsters, darkness, and separation from parents. School-aged children dream about school performance, peer relationships, and physical danger. Adolescents dream about social rejection, romantic relationships, and identity concerns. In adulthood, dream content tends to reflect current life, concerns, and circumstances. Young adults dream about career, relationships, and identity formation. Middle-aged adults dream about family, work responsibility, and aging. Older adults dream more about health, loss, and looking back on life. Some research suggests that dream vividness and recall decline with age. Older adults report fewer dreams and describe them as less vivid and emotionally intense than younger adults. This might reflect changes in sleep architecture, as older adults tend to have less REM sleep. Or it might reflect changes in memory systems that make dream recall more difficult. However, this decline isn't universal. Some older adults continue to have vivid, frequent dreams throughout their lives. Individual variation remains enormous, with some people at any age reporting rich dream lives and others reporting minimal dreaming. Dreams about mortality and legacy become more common in late life. Older adults more frequently dream about deceased loved ones, about reviewing their lives, about themes of completion and letting go. These dreams might serve important psychological functions, helping process the reality of mortality and integrate life experiences into a coherent narrative. The prospect of dream control. The idea of controlling dreams, of shaping them according to our wishes, has fascinated humans for centuries. Lucid dreaming offers one approach to dream control, but even without lucidity, there are ways to influence dream content. Dream incubation, the practice of suggesting to yourself before sleep what you'd like to dream about, has a surprisingly long history. Ancient temples of Asclepius were places where sick people would sleep hoping for healing dreams. The practice combined ritual, suggestion, and environment to encourage dreams on specific themes. Modern research has found that pre-sleep suggestion can indeed influence dream content, though not with perfect reliability. If you spend time before sleep thinking about a specific topic, viewing images related to it, or telling yourself you want to dream about it, you're somewhat more likely to incorporate that topic into your dreams. The effect isn't strong, but it's measurable. External stimuli during sleep can also influence dreams. Playing specific sounds or scents while someone is sleeping sometimes gets incorporated into their dreams. One study sprayed rose scent during REM sleep, and participants later reported more positively toned dreams. Unpleasant scents led to more negative dream content. This opens possibilities for therapeutic applications. If nightmares can be triggered or worsened by certain stimuli, perhaps beneficial dreams can be encouraged by positive stimuli. Research is ongoing into using targeted sensory stimulation during sleep to influence dream content in helpful ways. Targeted memory reactivation is a technique where specific memories are cued during sleep by presenting associated sounds or smells. For instance, if someone learns a task while a particular sound plays, playing that sound again during subsequent sleep enhances consolidation of that learning. The sound cues the memory to be reactivated and processed during sleep. Could this technique be extended to shaping dream content? In theory, yes. By associating specific desired content with cues and then presenting those cues during REM sleep, we might be able to guide dreams toward particular themes or scenarios. But the practical and ethical implications of such technology would be complex. The prospect of dream control raises important questions. Would the ability to perfectly control our dreams be desirable? Part of what makes dreams interesting is their spontaneity, their capacity to surprise us, to present material we wouldn't consciously choose. Dreams shaped entirely by conscious intention might lose some of their potential for insight and creativity. There's also the question of whether artificially enhanced or controlled dreams would serve the same functions as natural dreaming. If dreams help process memories and emotions through their own organic logic, imposing external control might interfere with these functions. The future of dream science. Where is dream research headed? What might we learn about dreams in the coming decades? Technological advances are opening new possibilities for studying dreams with unprecedented precision. Brain imaging techniques continue to improve, offering better temporal and spatial resolution. We're getting closer to being able to decode specific dream content from brain activity patterns in real time. Some researchers are working on dream reconstruction, using machine learning algorithms to predict what someone is dreaming about based on their brain activity. Early results are promising. Researchers can identify whether someone is dreaming about faces versus objects, indoor versus outdoor scenes, specific types of actions or emotions. The reconstructions are still crude, but they demonstrate the principle. Dream content leaves distinctive signatures in brain activity that can be read from outside. This raises both exciting possibilities and ethical concerns. If we can read dreams from brain activity, we might be able to study dreaming in people who can't report their dreams verbally, including non-human animals, infants, or people with certain neurological conditions. We might gain insight into dreams that are forgotten immediately upon waking. But the ability to read dreams also raises privacy concerns. Dreams are among our most private experiences, often containing content we wouldn't willingly share. The prospect of dream reading technology requires careful ethical consideration. Another frontier is dream communication. Researchers have successfully established two-way communication with lucid dreamers. While someone is lucid dreaming, They can answer simple questions by using predetermined eye movement signals, and researchers can communicate with the dreamer by presenting stimuli, asking questions through audio playback, or other sensory means. This opens remarkable research possibilities. We can now ask people about their dream experiences while they're still having them, getting real-time reports rather than relying on memory after waking. We can conduct experiments within dreams, asking lucid dreamers to perform specific tasks and measuring the results. Some research is exploring whether dreams could be used for therapy in new ways. Virtual reality exposure therapy has proven effective for treating phobias and PTSD. Could lucid dreams serve a similar function, providing a safe space to confront fears or practice difficult skills? Early research suggests possibilities, though much work remains. There's also growing interest in dreams and artificial intelligence. As AI systems become more sophisticated, researchers are asking whether they might someday dream. What would it mean for an artificial system to dream? Could dreams help AI systems consolidate learning, explore counterfactuals, or develop creativity? These questions push the boundaries of both neuroscience and computer science. The universal human experience. And so, we return to where we began. Dreams are universal. Every human culture has known about dreams, developed frameworks for understanding them, created practices around them. They've been seen as divine messages, nonsense, brain static, windows into the unconscious, memory consolidation processes, and countless other things across time and culture. What seems clear is that dreams are deeply embedded in human nature. We spend roughly 2 hours per night in REM sleep, creating elaborate, bizarre, emotionally charged experiences. Over a typical lifetime, that adds up to roughly 6 years of dreaming. 6 years of a unique state of consciousness, distinct from both waking and dreamless sleep. The functions of this state, as we've explored, are likely multiple. Dreams help consolidate memories, integrating new experiences into existing knowledge. They help regulate emotions, providing a safe space to process difficult feelings. They simulate threats and challenges, preparing us to handle them in waking life. They facilitate creativity, making novel connections between disparate ideas. But beyond function, dreams have intrinsic value as experiences. They're a form of consciousness, a way of being, that offers perspectives and insights different from waking thought. In dreams, we can experience impossible things, feel emotions without external causes, explore scenarios that waking life doesn't permit. Dreams connect us to our own depths, to aspects of ourselves not always accessible during waking life. They draw on our entire history of memories and experiences, recombining them in ways that can reveal new patterns and meanings. They're simultaneously deeply personal and universally human. Each person's dreams are unique, shaped by individual history, personality, and concerns. And yet, the basic experience of dreaming, the fundamental strangeness and vividness of it, is shared across all humanity. The specific content varies, but the underlying experience of inhabiting an alternate reality, generated entirely by your own mind, that's universal. Dream journaling and self-discovery. Keeping a dream journal is one of the oldest and most accessible ways to explore your dream life more deeply. The practice is simple. Keep a notebook and pen beside your bed and write down your dreams immediately upon waking, before you move, before you check your phone, before you think about anything else. The act of recording dreams changes your relationship with them. It signals to your brain that dreams are important, worth attending to. Many people find that simply starting a dream journal increases their dream recall dramatically. Where they might have remembered dreams once or twice a week before, they begin remembering them every night, sometimes multiple dreams per night. What you write doesn't have to be polished or complete. Even fragmentary notes, a few key images or emotions, can help anchor the dream in memory. Some people write detailed narratives, capturing every nuance they can recall. Others jot down brief notes, the highlights and strange elements. Both approaches have value. Over time, patterns often emerge in dream journals. You might notice recurring themes, frequent characters, or typical emotional tones. You might discover that certain waking life stresses show up in your dreams in predictable ways, or that your dreams tend to incorporate recent experiences after a characteristic delay. Dream journals can also reveal changes over time. Looking back through months or years of recorded dreams, you might see how your dreams have evolved alongside changes in your life. The anxious dreams during a stressful period, the creative dreams during a time of artistic exploration, the grief dreams following a loss, all captured and preserved. Some people use their dream journals as creative inspiration. Dreams offer a wealth of images, scenarios, and emotional tones that can feed into artistic or creative projects. Writers, artists, and musicians have long drawn on dream material for their work. The practice of recording dreams also cultivates a particular kind of self-awareness. It requires you to pause between sleeping and full waking, to inhabit that liminal space where dream memories are still accessible. This practice can increase your overall mindfulness and introspection. However, dream journaling isn't for everyone. Some people find it disruptive to their sleep routine or anxiety-provoking if their dreams are frequently negative. The practice should feel helpful, not burdensome. If recording dreams doesn't serve you, there's no obligation to continue. The incorporation of external stimuli. Your sleeping brain doesn't completely tune out the external world. Sounds, smells, temperature changes, and other sensory inputs can penetrate into sleep and get incorporated into dreams, usually in transformed ways. If an alarm clock goes off while you're dreaming, you might dream about sirens, bells, or phone calls. The actual sound is woven into the dream narrative rather than immediately waking you. If someone speaks to you while you're asleep, their words might appear in your dream as dialogue from a dream character. This incorporation isn't always direct or obvious. Your brain transforms external stimuli to fit the ongoing dream. A cold room might lead to dreams of winter landscapes or ice. A full bladder might generate dreams about searching for a bathroom or encounters with water. Physical discomfort often manifests in dream scenarios that symbolically represent the sensation rather than directly depicting it. Research has explored this phenomenon systematically. In laboratory studies, researchers have presented specific stimuli to sleeping participants, spraying scents, playing sounds, gently touching them, even giving them sips of water. These stimuli frequently appeared in subsequent dream reports, though often transformed. One study found that when participants were exposed to rose fragrance during REM sleep, they later reported more positively toned dreams. Unpleasant scents led to more negative dream content. This suggests that emotional tone might be influenced through smell, even during sleep. This opens therapeutic possibilities. If specific stimuli can influence dream emotional tone or content, perhaps targeted sensory inputs during sleep could be used to encourage beneficial dreams or reduce nightmares. Research into this possibility is ongoing. The incorporation of external stimuli also has practical implications. If you want better quality dreams, your sleep environment matters. A comfortable temperature, minimal disruptive noise, and physical comfort all contribute to less disrupted sleep and potentially more pleasant dream experiences. Time perception in dreams. How long does a dream last? The subjective experience of dream duration can feel quite different from actual clock time. Some dreams seem to unfold over extended periods, encompassing lengthy narratives with multiple scenes and extended conversations. Others feel brief and fragmented. Early research suggested that dream time matched real time, that events in dreams took about as long as they would in waking life. This was based on studies where lucid dreamers performed timed actions in their dreams, like counting slowly, and signaled the beginning and end with eye movements. The dream time closely matched the actual time that passed. However, other research has found that dreams can feel longer or shorter than the actual REM period. The compression and expansion of time in dreams might relate to memory and narrative construction. Dreams don't unfold in real time like a movie. They're more like memories or imagined scenarios where time can jump and compress. You might dream of a long journey that seems to take hours in the dream, but occurs during just a few minutes of REM sleep. Or you might have a brief dream that feels like it lasted only seconds, but actually occupied several minutes. The subjective experience of duration doesn't always match the objective time. This fluid relationship with time is part of what makes dreams feel different from waking experience. In waking life, time flows steadily and irreversibly. In dreams, time can jump, compress, expand, or loop back on itself without this feeling strange or impossible. The border between sleep and waking. The transition between sleep and waking isn't always sharp and clear. There are liminal states, in-between territories where elements of sleep and waking consciousness mix in interesting ways. Hypnagogia refers to the transitional state between waking and sleep. As you drift off, you might experience vivid imagery, strange thoughts, or brief hallucinations. These hypnagogic experiences are similar to dreams, but occur during the process of falling asleep rather than during REM sleep. Hypnagogic imagery can be quite vivid, brief flashes of faces, landscapes, or abstract patterns. Some people experience hypnagogic sounds, hearing their name called, or music, or other auditory hallucinations. Others feel physical sensations like falling or floating. These experiences reflect the brain's transition from waking patterns of activity to sleep patterns. Parts of the brain begin shutting down while others remain active, creating a mixed state where dreamlike experiences intrude into fading wakefulness. Hypnopompia is the opposite transition, the state between sleep and full waking. As you emerge from sleep, particularly from REM sleep, you might briefly continue experiencing dream imagery or thoughts while becoming progressively more awake. This is when false awakenings most commonly occur, when sleep paralysis might strike, when dream and reality feel most blurred. Some people deliberately cultivate these transitional states, seeing them as opportunities for creativity or insight. The hypnagogic state, in particular, has been associated with creative breakthroughs. Edison and Dali both used techniques to capture these moments, waking themselves just as they were falling asleep, to record the imagery and thoughts arising in that liminal space. Sleep talking and sleep behaviors. Not everyone lies still and silent during sleep. Some people talk, move, or even perform complex behaviors while asleep, creating fascinating windows into the sleeping mind. Sleep talking, or somniloquy, is common. Research suggests that a significant portion of the population talks in their sleep at least occasionally, though most don't do it frequently enough or loudly enough for it to be problematic. The speech can range from incomprehensible mumbling to clear, coherent sentences. What people say during sleep talking isn't necessarily meaningful or reflective of dream content. Sometimes it's gibberish, fragments of words without clear meaning. Sometimes it's statements that seem to relate to dream content. Occasionally, sleep talkers conduct entire conversations, responding to questions or carrying on monologues. Sleep talking can occur during any sleep stage. During REM sleep, when most vivid dreaming happens, sleep talking is relatively rare because of the muscle paralysis, but it can occur during transitions in and out of REM or during lighter, non-REM stages. Sleepwalking, or somnambulism, is more dramatic and potentially more problematic. Sleepwalkers get out of bed and move around while remaining asleep. They might walk through the house, sometimes performing complex sequences of behavior like getting dressed or opening doors. Their eyes are typically open, but with a blank, unfocused stare. Sleepwalking most commonly occurs during deep, non-REM sleep, particularly in the first third of the night. It's more common in children than adults, and most children who sleepwalk eventually outgrow it. The person usually has no memory of the episode upon waking. Despite common misconceptions, waking a sleepwalker isn't inherently dangerous to them, though they might be confused or disoriented. In fact, gently guiding them back to bed is often safer than allowing them to continue wandering, potentially encountering stairs or other hazards. REM sleep behavior disorder is a condition where the normal paralysis of REM sleep doesn't fully engage, allowing people to act out their dreams physically. This can be dangerous, as the actions might be violent or aggressive, reflecting threatening dream content. People with REM behavior disorder might punch, kick, jump out of bed, or perform other vigorous movements while still asleep. This disorder is more common in older adults, and research has found it can sometimes be an early sign of neurodegenerative diseases, like Parkinson's, though not everyone with REM behavior disorder will develop such conditions. Treatment typically involves making the sleep environment safe to prevent injury, and sometimes medication to reduce the behaviors. The mystery remains. After all we've learned, after decades of research and thousands of studies, dreams remain mysterious. We understand far more about their neurobiology, their content patterns, their functions, than we did when Aserinsky first observed rapid eye movements. But the central mystery, the hard problem of why neural activity patterns give rise to subjective experience, remains unsolved. We can predict when dreams will occur. We can measure brain activity during dreaming. We can even, to some limited extent, decode what someone is dreaming about. But we can't fully explain why it feels like something to dream, why these patterns of neural activity are accompanied by vivid, emotionally charged, conscious experiences. This is a version of the larger hard problem of consciousness, the question of why and how physical processes in the brain give rise to subjective experience. Dreams offer a particularly interesting case because they demonstrate that rich conscious experiences can occur without sensory input, driven entirely by internal brain processes. Perhaps future neuroscience will solve this problem, explaining consciousness in terms of information processing, or integrated information, or quantum effects, or some other physical principle. Or perhaps the subjective character of experience will always resist complete objective explanation, remaining a mystery even as we understand more and more about its physical correlates. But maybe that's appropriate. Maybe some mystery should remain, not unsolved necessarily, but resistant to complete dissolution. Dreams remind us that consciousness, experience, the felt quality of being a mind, remains one of the deepest puzzles in all of science. At a nightly journey. Tonight, like every night, you'll dream. Your brain will create experiences from the raw material of your memories and concerns. It will simulate scenarios, generate emotions, construct narratives. Most of this will be forgotten by morning, dissolved like dreams so often are. But while it's happening, while you're in the midst of it, it will feel real and present and meaningful. You might fly over impossible landscapes. You might have conversations with people no longer living. You might find yourself in places that don't exist, doing things that can't be done. And for those moments, those minutes of dream time, the impossibilities will seem perfectly natural, perfectly real. Your dreaming brain is an artist, a storyteller, a simulator of realities. Every night, it crafts unique experiences from the materials of your life, creating something that's never existed before and will likely never exist again in quite that form. Each dream is singular, ephemeral, yours alone. We've covered 100 facts about dreams tonight, wandering through neuroscience and psychology, culture and philosophy, the ordinary and the strange. We've explored lucid dreaming and sleep paralysis, memory consolidation and emotional regulation, color perception and sensory experience. But no amount of facts can quite capture what it's like to dream, to experience that peculiar state of consciousness. The facts tell us about the mechanics, the patterns, the correlates. They don't quite capture the subjective reality, the actual experience of dreaming. That experience remains yours, private and immediate. Science can study it, philosophy can ponder it, but ultimately, you're the only one who knows what your dreams are like, what they feel like from the inside. So as you drift towards sleep tonight, carrying these facts and frameworks with you, remember that the real thing, the actual experience of dreaming, will be something more than any description can capture. It will be immediate and strange, and yours. Rest now. Let the day recede. Let your breathing slow and your thoughts drift. The machinery of sleep will engage. The cycles will begin, and in time, you'll find yourself dreaming. And tomorrow you might remember fragments, or you might remember nothing at all, but the work of dreaming will have been done. Your memories will have been processed, your emotions regulated, your brain refreshed and reorganized in subtle ways. Dreams are a gift, a nightly journey into alternate realities of your mind's own making. They're strange and often forgotten, but they're also fundamental to who you are, to how your brain works, to the full spectrum of human consciousness. Thank you for joining me tonight on this exploration through the science and mystery of dreams. If these gentle explorations help you find peace at the end of the day, consider liking and subscribing to Whispered Knowledge. It helps others discover these restful journeys through knowledge and wonder. Until next time, may your dreams be vivid and your sleep be deep. Rest well and let your mind wander where it will through the landscapes of the night.